back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
Look at the little Tula. She's talking to the producer. And I'm not in the jumpsuit.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, June the 15th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete. Say hello, Mr. RadioPete.
Hello, Mr. RadioPete.
How the hell are you tonight?
All right, not bad. And we, I guess, just heard perhaps about the last we might hear from Harry Lug Nutz on this program during the intro theme.
We did.
But we're hoping that he manages to join. So at least we get to hear his voice.
At least we got to hear his voice. Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, the city of Denver is having internet issues right now.
Now, here's the thing. A friend of mine who lives down in Florida and
Okay.
is obviously a big Tampa Bay fan,
Mhm.
fucking traitor that she is,
Mhm.
being a Long Islander, born and raised,
Sure.
put a meme on Facebook that said, Colorado weatherman calls for severe lightning in Denver tonight.
Severe lightning in Denver.
Yeah.
I see what
Bold.
she did there.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if that was actually the weather forecast or if that was just a meme. But now I'm thinking maybe that's the weather forecast.
Maybe it
because
was.
Harry's internet is down, and
and
he's let's face it, just too old and not technologically savvy enough to figure out how to get on without it. So.
Sure. Now he actually tried connecting his hotspot on his phone to his computer, and for some reason that's not working either. Apparently his computer does not like his phone, even though they're both made by the same company.
Which company is that, John?
That would be one of those fruit companies.
The Alley Banana.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah, they hang from like a Granny Smith or something like that, right?
Right.
Anyway, but I have the same too, and you've heard my issues with them before, so it's Harry's turn to experience some. But the internet is not Apple's fault, right? The internet is whatever's internet provider.
It probably is.
It's probably his computer took down the whole internet grid for Denver.
We might as well blame everything on Apple.
Everything on Palo Alto. Yeah, exactly. Or wherever they are. I think they're in Palo Alto. Anyway. All right. So it's Pete and I until Harry figures out his technological dilemma.
Yeah. Well, if I trash him enough, then he may get motivated to figure it out and get on here just to respond.
Just to respond to it. Yeah, exactly.
Say enough mean things about him. So.
Exactly. Well, you know what? We should actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. You know what? Here. I'm going to text him right now. I'm going to tell him to at least comment.
Oh, that's right.
He can.
Well, can he?
From his phone. Do that on his phone. He can do it on his phone. Yeah.
Well, what's his data plan? He might be reaching his monthly limit.
Well, we'll see. We'll find out. I just sent the text, so we'll see what happens.
Well, listen.
If he sends a comment in, we'll know he will know he received the text. So.
Yeah. Or he could be sitting back with a beer and a cigar, with his feet up, laughing his ass off, going, "Yep, internet's down, boys. Sorry,
internet's down." Right.
Anyway, so he's having a nice, relaxing evening at home.
You know what, though? Speaking of a beer, do you mind if I have one?
Yeah, no, go ahead. What are you having? I'm
gonna have it's a couple towns away over here, Bradley Beach, Bradley Brew Project. It's Bradley Premium English Special Bitter. I know just a couple weeks ago I had an ESB on the show as well, but that one was from another local brewery, but it was what's it called? That beer was called Velvet Hand, if you recall.
Yeah.
The old Velvet.
I was in until you said bitter.
Well, it's like a misnomer.
It does have the word English in the name, so
yeah,
you should kind of expect some bitter.
Right, but oddly enough, there are beers that are a lot more bitter on a regular basis than ESBs. It's almost not bitter.
Oh, okay.
So, But
when are we going to see some sharks in the sand? One day I'll remember the name.
Sandcastles.
I swear.
Building
Sandcastles. There you go.
There you go. Well,
I had the sand part right. When are we going to see you drinking one of those?
I'll tell you what. The next show I will drink either a Building Sandcastles or a Trojan Sears. One or the other I will do. But I'll tell you right now, at least I will be drinking out of a Coastal Brewer glass.
Oh, very nice.
Look at that. Nice.
Very nice.
Fancy schmancy.
Coastal Brew Works, the newest and bestest brewery near American, New Jersey.
Exactly. So
for now.
This is a pretty tasty beer, this one. Mike, they do it up well over at Bradley Brew Project. They're good. They're friends of ours. So
is Bradley actually like the guy's name, or is that
no? It's the town. It's Bradley Beach.
Oh, okay.
So it's Bradley Brew Project. Yeah.
Well, listen. Here's the thing. Harry might be. What do we want to talk about first? Just go straight to the NHL.
We can. Well, why don't we talk about? We get some baseball out of the way.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Baseball's good.
Yeah. We get that out of the way. First of all, I do want to bring this up. All right. I mentioned it briefly to you before, but let's bring this up on the show. Cardinals pitcher last night, Miles McCollus. All right. He was one strike away from a no-hitter. Now, granted, not a perfect game. That would have been worse, but he was one strike away from a no-hitter. And the last batter, the 20, whatever, it's batter of, I think they were playing the Pirates. He hit.
So maybe the 28th batter.
28th batter, right?
He walked one guy.
I don't have those stats, but in any event, bloop fly ball, just a flare that carried a little too far. Just went over the head, just barely over the head of the center fielder. And I believe it was the center fielder, yeah. And anyway, just out of his reach. So if he had broken on it a little bit sooner, there you go, or whatever. But it sucks, right? And he was interviewed, and the first words out of his mouth was, "It stinks." How do you feel about it? It stinks, right? And it does. I get it, right?
At least he was honest.
It was, right? But let me ask you this: honestly, you're the batter. You have two strikes on you in the top of the ninth, bottom of the ninth, wherever you're playing, in the ninth inning, and the pitch that's facing you, that you're facing, is throwing a no-hitter. Two strikes on you, two outs. So one strike left. And the game's over. He has his no-hitter. Do you whiff at it so he gets his no-hitter, or do you want to play the spoiler?
What team am I on?
Well, if it's the teams last night, you were the Pirates, and you were facing the Cardinals.
Okay, so the Pirates. So I'm the batter on the Pirates, and I'm one strike away, or the pitcher is one strike away. So I'm Pittsburgh. 13 games under 500.
Mm-hmm.
I suck.
Right.
I'm 10 games behind Milwaukee. What the hell happened to them?
Right.
I'm a game better than the Cubs and Cincinnati. Cincinnati was awful to start the season.
Right.
They were the worst team in baseball.
They were.
Not anymore, though. But anyway, I'm swinging. I want to ruin. Sorry. Nope. You got to get it. It has to be legit. And I'm swinging. I'm getting a hit. I'm not giving anybody, unless this guy is my childhood friend and we played high school ball together or whatever. Other than that, forget it, man. I'm doing everything I can to just get on base, really.
Gotcha.
I mean, if it's a walk, I'll walk. I'm not gonna, reach out and try and hit one out of the strike zone or whatever. But yeah, I'm going for a hit. I'm not going to miss the ball intentionally. You got to earn it. My question is, and I didn't see the replay, but was the center fielder, were they playing shallow to try and stop the bloop? And it got over his head, or was it? Or did he just not? It was a ball he should have gotten, but he didn't get a good jump.
It's a good question. I was not watching the game. I just saw the the highlights, the replay of that particular at bat. So I hadn't, they really didn't show if they did, I missed it. They really didn't show where the outfielders were playing more or really talk about it, because it wasn't like an in-game broadcast. It was just, the analyst that was discussing it on the, replay show, if you will. So
they didn't say, "Oh, the center fielder was in a little close and it got over his head." Now,
I didn't hear any of that. So he might have been.
But that would be a mistake on his part. Look, so I don't know. Look, like I said, the pitcher was honest. He said it stinks, but that's about all you can say, right? You can't start tossing blame around. You can say, "Well, if I'd made a better pitch, he wouldn't have hit it," but So they won, right? He got a one hitter, and then he got the next guy out.
I believe so. Yeah. So I had a one hitter. Yeah, I'm actually trying to go back to it right now.
So one hitter, he gets the win. Would have been nice. I mean, unless the center fielder was like ridiculously shallow, in which case, somebody should have been yelling at him. You shouldn't, play too much differently. I understand if you're getting close to a no hitter or a perfect game, and maybe you want to shade one way or the other or something like that. Depending on who was up, who got the hit, what does he do? Does he hit a lot of flares? Does he have power?
I'm actually pulling this up. I'm actually pulling it up right now. So there, as the pitcher of the second game of day-night doubleheader, Mike McCullough was given a late reporting time. He spent the first part of Tuesday walking his kids around the aquarium in downtown St. Louis.
That's what I would have done.
Exactly. Even strapping 5-month-old Rhett to his chest in a child carrier.
Sure.
No one recognized McCullough or even asked the 6'4", 230-pound pitcher to pose for a selfie. All right, get past all of that shit.
So he's a nobody before this, is what they're saying.
St. Louis won 3-1 in the opener, while the McCullough family was at the aquarium, and it beat the Pirates 9-1 to sweep the doubleheader. But there was a twinge of disappointment over being unable to finish. So now here, 9-1, right? Okay, so that hit. It doesn't say. I'm just skimming through it. It really doesn't say.
So they got to run.
But I don't think they got the run on it.
Shutout.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't believe that because it was a single. The hit was a single. I don't think it might have been a double, but walk, stolen base, and then a double. That could have been it.
Brings him in, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you can't complain about that.
Right. But you're losing 9-0 at that point. All right. You're losing 9-0 at that point.
Yeah.
So it's the bottom of the ninth, or it was actually the top of the ninth because the Cardinals were home. But so it's ninth inning. You got 2 outs. You got 2 strikes on you. You're down by 9 runs. He's no hit you all day. What are the odds of a comeback at that point, right?
Well, right. Certainly not a 9-run comeback, but I mean, you can't.
So you're losing the game, right? You're losing the game.
Right. The Pirates know they're losing, but you can't just go, there's no way we're going to win this one.
Let him have his no-no.
Screw that. Yeah. Look, again, maybe if it was a perfect game and there was some sort of connection, but I can't see not being as competitive as you can be.
Well, I do agree with you.
He's not a former Pirate, right, the pitcher?
No. That I saw anyway. That I knew.
No, sorry, we're playing spoiler here because that's all we have.
Right, because it's
that's all we have.
It's a divisional game, right? And so you look at it like that, all right? Like, okay, we're Mets fans, right? So take a look at it. Or we're playing the Phillies. We're down in Philly, and Aaron Nola's on the mound, and he's got a no-hitter going, and J.D. Davis is up in the top of the ninth. Aaron Nola's no-hit the Mets the whole day, except for a walk or two or something like that, and J.D. Davis is up at the plate, and he's got 2 strikes on him.
Yeah, but we got to.
I'm not going to sit there and say, just give it to Aaron Nola. No, fuck that.
We got a guy on second. You got a guy on second base, and you're going to go, let him have it. No way, man.
No.
I want a single, and I don't care. I don't care if who's the slowest Met ever. I don't care if Todd Pratt is on second base, and it's a hard grounder to left field.
You don't care.
I'm sending him.
You don't care if Ed Kranepool is on second base now.
Yeah. I'm sending him no matter what. We're not dragging this out. Either we're going to lose it right now. It's not a no-hitter. Maybe it'll be a shutout or it won't, but I'm sending him. Come on, you fat ass. Get your legs moving and get home.
Get him in here.
I don't care if the catcher stops. They bring out a Keurig. He makes himself a cup of coffee, a couple sugars, drinks half of it, and then lays the tag on him. I'm sending him.
All right. That's perfect. Yeah, I agree with you. I do. Yeah, I mean, my first reaction to something like that, especially in that particular situation, is to, look at it as a sports fan, right? Just actually putting this in here because that's going to be an open.
What,
Funny.
looking at it as a sports fan?
No. Your Keurig comment. No, no, just what I just said. It's going to be an open. No. Anyway, no. Looking at it as a sports fan, right, and not a team that is a bitter rival of my team or anything like that. You kind of almost feel bad for the pitcher because you have no allegiance to either team. That was
right. Yeah.
So you kind of feel bad. The story's about the pitcher, right? And you have no allegiance to either team, so you kind of feel bad for the pitcher.
No dog in the fight. You kind of feel for the pitcher. Yeah.
Right. But if you look at it like that, it was a divisional game. It's not like it was an interleague game. Yeah, it's not like the Rays were playing the Mariners.
Yeah.
I meant the Rays playing the Mariners is an in-league game. I meant to say the Marlins were playing the Mariners.
Yeah,
it's like the Marlins were playing the Mariners, right?
Right.
It's so really, who cares? Whatever team it is, they're gonna lose. You're going to lose.
Right.
It is what it is at that point.
Yeah.
But even then, you still want to do good. If you get a hit, it's a hit for your average.
Yeah. Look,
your average is going up instead of down. So.
I just ran down the standings. Right. St. Louis, 3 games ahead of Milwaukee, 10 games ahead of Pittsburgh, 11 ahead of the Cubs and Cincinnati in the win column. Right.
Right.
So Pittsburgh, Cubs, and Cincinnati, unless somebody puts on a big run. Mm-hmm. They're going to be fighting it out for the bottom 3 spots.
Right.
None of those teams, Cubs should be better than they are, but certainly Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, not going to be challenging Milwaukee or St. Louis.
No.
For first or second, right?
Right.
Who's going to come in 3, 4, 5 in that order?
Right.
So even though you're losing the game, you want to put another law, or at least you're not going to put a loss on St. Louis in that case, but you're playing for pride,
right? And at this point,
even though you don't get the win, you want to go down. No pun intended, or maybe every pun intended. You want to go down swinging, right. and not missing intentionally. You can't do that.
No, you can't. Absolutely not. And there's no way. I mean, come right down to it. There's no way they're getting a wild card spot. I mean, right now. I mean,
that's what I mean. None of those 3 teams.
I mean,
are going to the playoffs.
It's not like we're in September now. Obviously, anything can happen. At this time last year, Atlanta was about the same where Pittsburgh is right now, and they won the damn World Series. But so anything can happen. But if the season were to end right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams in their 15-team conference league, I should say. Ahead of them. So
right. Yeah. And listen, between St. Louis and Milwaukee, there's no guarantee that both of those teams are going to go.
Sure.
It could just be the central winner. So, but yeah, Pittsburgh, the Cubs and the Reds, they're fighting it out for the bottom of the pile. Mm-hmm. And again, even though it's not a tie game situation, or if it was a 0-0 tie, and maybe you could get a hit and get a run, at least take a lead into the bottom of the ninth.
They're 1.5 games, I believe. 1.5 games out of the basement of the National League.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
The only teams below them are the Cubs, the Reds, and the Nats. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, everybody else is closer. So, but there's still pride involved. So, spoil it.
Yeah, and it's individual records too. It's the guy that was at bat too, right? It's his average. Hey,
right.
If he could raise his average by a couple of points as opposed to dropping it by a couple of points.
Sure, especially when you're on a lousy team,
right?
Which is usually pretty lousy because maybe there's 2 guys that are doing okay and everyone else is not good.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why they're lousy. So yeah, every hit helps. Right? What is the is it the thing from Bull Durham? What is it? 50 hits a year or something like that? One squibber or seeing eye single or Texas flare or whatever.
One extra hit a week
is the difference between like 250 and 300 or something.
250 and 300, yeah.
Right. So this could be whoever that guy was.
His extra hit that week
could be one of his. It could be his Texas flare for that week, though.
Exactly. And it's true. It's amazing how many good baseball anecdotes everybody has gotten from so many Kevin Costner baseball movies.
Yeah, well, say what you want about Kevin Costner. I think he's a big baseball fan.
I seem to think that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If you build it, he will come.
exactly.
Anyway, all right. And on that note, while we're talking about Pittsburgh, I have a few things I want to talk about with the Mets too. But while we're talking about Pittsburgh, I do want to bring up a pitcher that Pittsburgh had on their team last year. That had, I'm just bringing up his stats here. Last year he pitched almost an 8 ERA, I believe. He pitched last year. He pitched almost an 8 ERA, so he was not good last year in Pittsburgh. And then he got traded. He got traded in July, like before the trade deadline last year, to a particular team.
So halfway through the season, he was at 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he got traded to a team for 2 players, that team is the Yankees, and the player is Clay Holmes, and at this particular moment he's unhittable.
Yeah.
And if Harry was here, he'd be taking over the conversation right now, because he'd be all about Clay Holmes right now. And the fact that he's basically he's supplanting Aroldis Chapman as the not necessarily the closer, but the high leverage situation reliever.
Yeah, if Harry was here, this would be a Burns and Allen moment. Yeah. Where George Burns comes out and he says, people ask how I became a star. Gracie and I would walk out on stage and I'd say, Gracie, how's your mother? And she would talk for 40 minutes, and that's how I became a star. Mm-hmm. So we would all just have to say, hey, Harry, how about those Yankees? And what's the pitcher's name?
Clay Holmes.
How about Clay Holmes and the Yankees? And you and I, we could go brew a batch of beer.
Exactly.
And I could go downstairs to my kitchen and make myself a Keurig.
There you go.
And come back.
I'd run out to the store, pick up some more beer.
Yeah, you could do that.
Right.
And he would be halfway through.
Grab a sandwich on the way back. We're good to go.
Stop, have a bite to eat.
Exactly.
And he. So we're gonna miss our in-depth Yankee analysis.
Yes, we are.
Obviously, honestly, I know Aaron Judge is whacking the crap out of the ball, and I think I said either last week or a couple weeks ago, I think the Yankees did the right thing. They made him an offer. Mm-hmm. It wasn't good enough for him, and they said, "Well, we'll talk about it at the end of the year."
Right.
Now, maybe he'll walk, maybe not. If they win the World Series this year and he walks, I think they've done pretty well with Aaron Judge.
Right.
So it was the right thing to not cave before the season, because now he's playing for all of it. And was he leading the league in home runs and RBIs, or I don't know, he's in the top.
He's
5
looking
in pretty much every offensive category or whatever.
Pretty much. He's just taken off with it. And you know what? That is a gamble. I mean, at the beginning of the season, it was Aaron Judge gambling on himself. Now it's the Yankees gambling on Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
And depending on how the rest of the season plays out, it could go either way. But my question to you on that note is, regardless of what they do, regardless of whether they miss the World Series, get to the World Series, win the World Series, whatever, regardless of what they do from this point on, do you think Aaron Judge wants to stay and or will stay, regardless of, and will the Yankees give him the money he wants? Or it's not really the money he wants, right? It's the time he wants.
It's an extra year. 7 instead of 6, or 6 instead of 5.
I think they offered him 5 and they wanted 7 or something like that. I could be wrong.
Which
like
could be, for a lot of players now, that seems to be the bargaining point of contention, right? It's not, okay, we're, if there's somebody who wants to be the highest paid player per year, okay, that's, you deal with that. Or we may do that for 5 years. But if they just want to make a boatload of money, but they want it for 7 years, A lot of teams are balking at that. That seems to be the point of contention. I would think that we always talk about, it's all about the money. They don't really care. There's no loyalty. I think players obviously have preferences of where they want to play.
Right.
Why would you want to leave a place like New York that has been so loving, right? I mean, look at what with the injuries. It was a couple seasons ago and a little bit last season, right? Oh, Aaron Judge, he's too big. He's breaking down. He's injury prone, but they still love him as long as you produce.
Right.
I mean, that's a great thing about New York or anywhere else.
It's true.
So, why would you want to leave there? If you grew up wanting to be a Yankee and now you're a Yankee, I think players legitimately want to be in certain places. Now, whether that's because that's their team that they love, or that's a city that has a history of winning or at least being competitive or whatever, I think he definitely wants to stay in New York. Will he? I don't know. I think if they win, I think he'd be more likely to stay.
Right.
Well, maybe change his mind about the contract. If they don't win it all, I don't know. So you got to figure someone's going to give him what he wants, right?
And you know who it is too, right?
Well, I don't know.
But
if that happens, then that's the end of him. That's when the slow decline starts to speed up, because that's the history.
Right.
Yeah. And we're talking about our team, the Mets. Folks.
The Mets, right? Yeah, of course. But
if he crosses the river, or whatever, crosses.
There's a river there.
Yeah, 17 rivers. Then he'll have one pretty good season and then start to break down, because that's how things go.
The Harlem River goes down, the East River comes up and goes around. So you got to, you're not necessarily crossing the Harlem River, but you're crossing the East River.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Uncle Steve is a guy who might pay him and might give him the 7 years or whatever it is he wants. There might be somebody else too. I don't know though. I mean, we are in June here, so we're how many weeks away from the All-Star break? A couple weeks, 3 weeks?
3.5 weeks. Yeah, 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
So a lot can happen, right? He's got a whole second half of the year.
4 weeks, actually. 4 weeks from yesterday, I think, is the All-Star game.
4 weeks from yesterday. So there we go. So he still has basically more than the second half of the year, but he's still got to do that. Still has to perform, maybe not at this crazy level, but at least darn good. And he's got to stay healthy. Right. And any of those spokes come off the wheel, it's not going to mean no one's going to sign him, but it's going to make it a lot harder, for somebody to justify giving him what it is that he wants, because the Yankees made him a damn good offer, and he said no.
Right.
So I think I'm not sure if things go slightly, I'm not saying he has to get injured and then miss 2 months. I don't mean that. But if things don't continue to go really well, it's going to be a limit to the teams that are maybe going to give him what he wants.
Right.
And he might want to just stay with the Yankees and take 1 year less.
I mean, you got to think that he wants to stay in the Bronx.
Of course,
I think
he does.
I think look, the amount of money he's going to get, it's not like they're offering him, a qualifying offer, like a 1 year qualifying offer. It's not like they're giving him well undervalued what he deserves.
Yeah.
And
no,
and if he does go on and win the MVP and gets them deep in the playoffs or whatever happens with there, they're going to do something. I mean, I've heard, and I don't know how true this is because I've heard it second and third hand, from pundits and stuff like that on sports talk radio and TV, but that Hal Steinbrenner does not want to breach the luxury tax. And that's what this is about. There are obviously teams that don't care. One of them is very close. There's the luxury tax, there's a second tier, and then there's the Steve Cohen tier. And Steve Cohen doesn't care because he wants to win, and he'll do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
The return is just going to be initially
he doesn't care.
Right. Oh, eventually it's going to level out.
Yeah. If they don't win, then over the next 2 or 3 years, then it's going to start to level out pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's going to, learn that you can't just always buy everything. But they've made smart moves so far, so let's hope that continues.
Right. Exactly.
But I just, why would you want to play anywhere else other than You know what I mean? And look, and we talked about this. Whatever, they're 45-16 for Christ's sakes. They're the best team in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And the other best team in baseball is also in New York, but the Mets right now are still the redheaded stepchildren.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing better.
There.
Yeah, they're only what 4 games back in the win column with all that. But the Yankees are still better. And they're more the darlings of the city than the Mets will ever be.
Right.
You know, the Mets
And,
are,
I mean,
it's not exactly toiling in obscurity, but comparing the two, the Mets are kind of toiling in obscurity. They happen to be doing very well.
Well, the Yankees are also 50-something years older of a franchise. So, you know, they've had, you know, and I think they've won, what are those things called? World Series.
Championships?
Championships.
Oh, yeah, World Series.
Yeah. I think they've won, seven or eight or nine. 7.
Yeah.
So it's 25 more than the Mets have won. Yeah. Okay. So,
yeah, well, the greatest.
That has a little to do with it.
Yeah.
So, in any event.
But that shouldn't get the Met fan down because we're having a great season.
No, yeah, and that was my point to you, and that was my question to you. This is a great season. You know, this is one of the best seasons in Mets history. I think honestly, at this particular point in the season, the only season that was better than this season was the '86 season, and we know what happened there, right? The Mets are 4 games behind where they were at this particular point in the season in '86. So this is technically the Mets' second best season of all time.
So the Yankees are basically where the Mets were in '86.
Pretty much. And the Yankees are, and would you agree if I said one of, because the history is just so long and there's been so many good Yankee teams over the course of the last 100 and plus years, that one of the best seasons, at least in, you know, the last 50 years anyway, would be the '98 season.
Sure.
Okay. All right. The Yankees are 2 games behind where they were at this particular point in '98. So both the Mets and the Yankees are playing some of the best baseball they've ever played, and they're doing it at the same time. The 2 best teams in baseball are both in New York. And yeah.
And I'll tell you, this might be a really good place for the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can just kind of go about their business.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be the saviors of New York baseball.
Right.
They can just let the Yankees be better. Let them get the back page 3 out of, every day that they play,
mm-hmm.
or, that they don't lose or whatever. Right. I don't care.
Who cares?
Beat the Braves. Beat the Phillies. That's all I have to say about the NL East.
But, yeah, it's pretty much all you got.
Get into the playoffs. And
they need to. They need to beat up on the Marlins and the Nats. They need to take care of business. They need to sweep them all the time to get those wins.
Right.
Because the Braves and the Phillies are going to do that too. So
let the Yankees get the headlines. Let them be the best team in baseball. Just keep chugging along. No pressure. No, not as much press. That's what I want for this team.
Right.
I don't want them. You know what I mean? I don't want them having that pressure. I mean, they're getting, from the media, they're getting some of it, of course,
right,
as they should, because this is in New York. It's the market that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the best team in the National League who happens to reside in New York. But let the Yankees have the back page. Just to be the little engine that could. Just keep chugging along. Winning series. That's all you got to do.
Agreed. Now, on that note, though, the Mets are actually doing some things that even the Yankees aren't doing. Okay. Let's look at it this way. Obviously, the Yankees, what do we say? The Yankees are 45-16, and the Mets are 41-22. So, right here, Jeff McNeil. Okay. He's hitting. I just want to point this one stat out to you. It's going to lead me into my other stat. Jeff McNeil's hitting .336 against righties. That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay. Think about what Jeff McNeil was doing last year. Think about
that last year was an anomaly.
The rat and the raccoon and all of that crap and so forth and so on, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Punching his teammates because
Right.
it was fighting over what rodent was in the tunnel, or which wasn't what they were really fighting about.
No, but that was the story. But which leads me to this other stat. The Mets right now are, when batting with 2 strikes on the batter, they're hitting 197. It sounds low. It's first.
League averages.
It's first in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
They're tops in Major League Baseball in batting with 2 strikes. And what that tells me, there's patience, and they're concentrating on having good at bats. And it's no secret. I mean, you just watch any of the games, and you're going to see them just, foul off pitch after pitch, wait out walks, just run up pitchers' pitch counts. It's like I think Todd Zeal said it. I heard him a little while ago on Baseball Tonight in New York. He said it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah. Well, that's what good teams do. Especially in this. Look, it's
whittle away at it, and all of a sudden the pitcher in the bottom of the 4th inning is where he should be in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, right, and nobody goes really. Well, pitchers are starting to throw a little bit longer now, but with the way pitching is now, you get that pitch count up early.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's coming out. So, although as I said, I think was it last night or the night before, Bassett threw over 100
last night,
trying to get him through the 8th there.
8th inning, yeah.
Another stellar performance by him, but. So, yeah, that's what good teams have always done, right? That's one of the hallmarks of the Yankees.
Sure.
The best hitters on the Yankees. Work the pitch count. Don't swing at lousy pitches. Be smart. Be patient. I mean, it's a universal, intelligent strategy for hitting. And the Mets have obviously bought into it and are doing well. They're following it. So that continues.
And on that note, too, you talk about Bassett. He, whatchamacallit, he had been sliding there. I mean, he had been pitching not well, or not as good as he started out pitching. And it did kind of come out last night. He was talking. There was an issue. I mean, he was pitching to McCann every time he was out, and McCann's been hurt. So now he's pitching to. First, he was pitching Mazika. That didn't work out too well. They couldn't get on the same page with the signs. And he's been pitching to Nito. And, he really wasn't getting along with Nito. So they actually got together and they hung out and got to know each other and spent some time with each other and did this, did that, whatever. And it worked. Like how he pitched last night, right? And he did. It's not like he was pitching against the Reds. He was pitching against the Brewers. I mean, they're a good team.
Oh, yeah, although they've been struggling lately, but
they've been struggling.
They're still capable of cranking it up on any given night. And I was in fact thinking, oh, great. Brewers were like, they lost 8 in a row or something like that, and I'm like, oh, great. Now they're going to come into New York and figure it out, and beat the crap out of the Mets. But so far that hasn't happened. Right. Yeah, listen, I don't know. Maybe there's going to be one of those personal catcher situations between the two of them. Who knows? But you also have to consider the fact, and the Mets don't have their top 2 pitchers.
That's where I was going with this.
So haven't had them for weeks now.
The Mets are where they are.
One of them the whole season.
The Mets are where they are.
One's been out a month and a half now.
Yep. The Mets are where they are without their 2 aces. Without
how many Cy Youngs between those 2 guys?
5 between the 2 of them.
5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 5 Cy Youngs between the 2 of them. So, when they come back.
Now, it's not like they're winning every game 10-8 either.
No.
So, those guys coming back, it's the pitching staff has done a decent job in their absence. So it's not like every game is going to be a shutout from now on. But yeah, when you bring those guys back, who both, can eat up some innings. Of course, you're going to have to, work both of them into it.
Right.
Then that's going to be, you should continue. I don't expect the Mets to get hugely better because they're already playing so well, right? Even with those two pitchers,
right?
It's
not like they're going to win out the rest of the season when they come back.
Yeah, they're not going to win 9 out of every 10 games because they get DeGrom and Scherzer back.
But here's the thing.
But they could go on some runs where they win 9 out of 10.
Right. But here's the thing. The two weakest pitchers that they have on their staff right now, those two spots become their two strongest spots.
Right.
So everything gets better.
But my point is those weakest spots haven't been terrible.
They haven't been terrible. They haven't been terrible. They've been solid.
We get 3 really good starts, and then it's a slugfest for the other 2 guys. We can't wait to get our aces back.
Right. Would you say that the 5-5 road trip that they went on out west, losing one to the Padres, one to the who they start with, one to the Angels, and 3 to the Dodgers. Would you say that would have been a little bit more lean towards the Mets? Maybe they only lose 1 or 2 to the Dodgers. Maybe they sweep one of the other 2 teams, kind of thing.
If they had their best 2 best pitchers?
Yeah, if they were there.
Yeah, sure. You're going to have more of a chance. You would think that would be, right. Certainly that Dodgers series you think would be. But you know what? On the other hand, I don't think it was necessarily a terrible thing that they lost a few games.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no, it's not. And they went Mets, 5-5 too, and they went 5-5, and they've won.
If you're the Mets and you get to the World Series, you're going to see one of those teams most likely. So, it doesn't. I don't think it's a terrible thing that you
familiarity
get a little bitterness in your mouth from a loss,
right,
or from a sweep.
I felt that way for so many years about so many different things. There's history will show you that more often than not, and it doesn't happen all the time, but more often than not, a team that faces elimination by a team that they lost to in the regular season, in the playoffs,
hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You want revenge.
Absolutely.
Now do they play in New York this season?
They have to. Yeah, they have
to at some point. So you're going to get some other games there, and we'll see how that goes.
Let's see.
But yeah, I mean, unless you're dominated by another team the entire season, that can be very disheartening.
Right.
But if it's close, so you're down, or a game, or you've lost 1 or 2 games to them, and you want revenge. That's motivation. So I don't think it's a terrible thing. And 5-5 against those teams is not that shouldn't be looked upon as bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
It's really not. And again, you're on the road too, so I don't think that should be looked at as a negative thing.
The Mets have a 3-game home series, August 30th, 31st, September 1st, against the Dodgers.
Okay. So if you win 2 of those, and you're down 4-2, or if you lose 2 of them, right, and you're 1-5 against the Dodgers over the course of the season, you're hungry for revenge should you meet them on your way to the World Series.
If they can, if they can win the series, if they can go 2-1, then it would be the Dodgers would be winning the season series 5-3. No, 4-3. 4-3. They'd be 1 game up on them. Yeah, because it was just 4 games. Dodgers won 3, Mets won 1.
Right.
So
they're 1-3 right now.
They're Mets are 1-3 against versus the Dodgers. So if they go 2-1, they're 3-4. If they sweep them for some weird reason, they're Mets are 4 and the Dodgers are 3.
Oh yeah, you're right. So, but my point is, if they're a game down after the season series, or 2 games down,
right,
that's motivation for revenge. And
exactly.
possibly going to see them again.
Mm-hmm.
Except probably not the Angels.
No,
You probably won't be seeing the Angels in the World Series if the Mets get there.
probably won't. Probably not.
No,
But you never know.
most of-
You never know.
Eh,
Probably not.
We kind of know.
Look, I mean, it's quite obvious that it's not out of the realm of possibility for the World Series to be another Subway Series this year. And the one thing that the Mets have going for them this year that they didn't have going for them 22 years ago is that Armando Benitez is not on the team.
Yeah, that's true.
So there you go.
But see, here's the thing. And in 2000, I said to some Yankee friends of mine, you can have 50 championships.
Mm-hmm.
If the Mets win the World Series, that means nothing. Because all the Met fan has to say in that argument is, oh, you got 28 championships or 27? Yeah, we beat you in the World Series.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That one time. We beat you in the World Series.
Right.
So enjoy all your other championships.
Enjoy the others.
I'm going to really enjoy
this one. Right.
That you lost to us.
There you go.
But of course, that didn't happen.
No, did not.
So, but now
could have,
but it didn't. But now the shoe's on the other foot. In that case, Yankees losing would have been a disaster for them.
Right.
Let's say they meet again this year. Mets losing, going 0-2. That's a disaster for the Mets.
Right.
Winning and tying it up, well, then at least you can say, well, we got 27 championships. And you go, yeah, but only one against us.
Mm-hmm.
We got just as many against you.
You have against us.
As you have against us.
Exactly.
So, again, that's kind of a, bogus argument. But, boy, if they were to meet in the World Series and the Yankees were to win again and the Mets were 0-2, I never – anytime I saw a Yankee fan, I would just walk the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Gotcha. Got some Harry information. He could not connect from his phone either to do it via the phone. He's guessing that his service, Verizon, is maxed out with the internet cable outage. Everybody's on their phones because they're all in the same boat he is. And he can't even get on Facebook on his phone.
Is it storming and lightning out there?
I'll have to ask him. He said he's actually going to go out in a little while and drive somewhere to try and get on on his phone. So we'll see if that happens. But on that, we should. It should be interesting. But I do want to mention this though. A couple of things before we wrap up baseball. There's three things today. We're going to do today in Mets history.
Oh, okay.
Today in Mets history. Today, June 15th, 1977, was the day that the Mets traded Tom Seaver to the Cincinnati Reds. Bad day in Mets history. All right. Today, June 15th, 1983, 6 years later, was a good day in Mets history. It was the day the Mets got Keith Hernandez from the Cardinals.
Okay.
All right. And this year just happens to be the 20th anniversary. All right. June 15th, 2002, of the day that Sean Estes threw behind Roger Clemens at the plate at Shea Stadium. It was the first time that the Mets were facing Clemens since the 2000 World Series. So,
I was at that game.
Were you?
Yeah. Yeah, it was very disappointing. You're like, Yeah, I mean, I was not a huge fan of Estes anyway, but I mean, come on, guy. Just hit him.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you're going to do that, hit him.
Plunk him right on his.
Take one for the team. He gets run out of the game. He gets run out of the game. Whatever.
He was trying, but he missed. That's what I think it was.
He was aiming the ball.
Yeah. But it was funny because. So what year was that?
2002.
2002. Right. So who'd won the World Series the year before that? Fresh in my memory.
That would be the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. So what was funny is there was, obviously a mixed crowd, and there was a guy sitting I don't know, one row forward or maybe 10 seats over. And he was a Yankee fan.
Mhm.
And he was just a lame ass, like trying to argue, about the Yankees or whatever. And he kept saying, "Let's go, world championship. Come on, world champions. Let's go, world champions." Like we would all look at him and go, the Diamondbacks aren't playing, right? Because they were the current champions at the time.
And who did the Diamondbacks beat in that World Series?
They beat the Yankees.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, like he didn't, And then what was really funny, there was like it was a hive mind for, at the end of the game ends, and then the PA announcer comes on and he announces the score and the winning pitcher and the losing pitcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I forget who the winning pitcher was. And everybody's standing up and we're walking out, and that guy's, walking out over here. So he happened to kind of be sort of in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of us lined up, bunch of Met fans. And so the public address announcer comes on. Today's winning pitcher is blah, blah, blah. Losing pitcher is, and like 9 or 10 of us all together leaned over towards that guy and all went, "Roger Clemens!" simultaneously. And I don't know how we all knew to do that together, but we gave it to him because we, of course, hated Clemens. So that was a fun day. But yeah, very disappointing. Just drill him in the ass.
Yeah.
Just drill him.
Clemens could not get over the fact that Piazza had his number.
Yeah. Well,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? All right. Well, that's today. That's today in Mets history. So there you go. All right. Whatchamacallit? Let's move on to I only have one thing that I wanted to bring up, but I'll bring it up quick. Just throw the background up there because it is football.
Football.
A little football. NFL Network analysts did a little voting, and they voted for the greatest defensive player of all time. Who do you think they picked?
Michael Strahan. Greatest defensive player of all time.
Mm-hmm. Who did the NFL Network analysts vote as the greatest defensive player of all time?
Is it my good buddy Prime?
Nope. Wasn't that your buddy Dion? Nope.
I'm going to guess it's a Giant.
Possibly.
Oh, you don't want to give it away. Well, man. I mean, I have to say LT.
Yes. They picked Lawrence Taylor as the greatest defensive player of all time.
Now, did they pick any others? Did they pick 2, 3, 4, or just...
They may have. I just read that as the headlines.
Wow. How do you really argue with that?
This is true. Let's find out actually what they
I think there's other players that are right there, but I mean, unless you want to go way back in the day and find somebody who revolutionized the game like back in the 30s or something, but LT kind of did that in a different era.
Yeah, he did that.
How do you? I mean, why would you even? Who are these people, and why do they have so much time to waste that they can spend their hours figuring out what we already all know who the greatest NFL defensive player is?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it was this unbelievable, like groundbreaking discovery of voting, but whatchamacallit. So it says,
there was was there one vote for Aaron Donald?
Right.
and everyone else was like, "What? Get out of here!"
Yeah, really.
It's LT. Well, I don't even know why we're here.
We
rented the hall till 4. It's now 3:00. We got to kill time somehow. So I don't know. Let's pick the greatest defensive player ever.
Let's pick something that everybody will just obviously agree with us with.
Anyway. Yeah.
I'll read just a little bit of it. It's NFL Network analysts vote LT greatest defensive player of all time. NFL Network recently asked 10 of its analysts a simple question: Who are the top 3 defensive players of all time as you see it? Most of the analysts listed many of the same players. Reggie White was a popular choice, as were Aaron Donald and your buddy Prime. But the one and only name included on all 10 lists and in the top spot on 9 of the 10 lists was none other than Lawrence Taylor. So there you go.
So somebody didn't put him ninth. Didn't put him first.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the guy who doesn't vote for Mariano.
It was the same.
Well,
it was
Mariano,
the same.
but
It was the same guy that didn't vote for Derek Jeter for the
right.
Hall of
That's
Fame,
I had the wrong player there. Right, because Mariano was unanimous, right?
Mariano was unanimous. Yeah.
He's the only guy that's ever been unanimous.
Yep.
Is that right?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Jeter was the guy who was that's the same jackass who didn't vote for Jeter on the first ballot.
Right.
I'm going to put.
Actually, it says it right
I'm
here.
going to put Derek Thomas, or I'm going to.
It says it right here. The one analyst that did not vote number 1 voted Deion Sanders number 1. It was Mabel Sanders of
Dallas, Texas.
Of Dallas, Texas.
Well, unless you get one guy's like, I'm voting for Izzy Weingartner.
Right.
He changed the defensive tackle position, played from 1931 to 1944.
1931 and a half.
Yeah. There's never been a better interior defensive lineman than Izzy Weingartner.
Exactly.
LT's number 2.
Exactly.
But at least it, you could sort of say it's a semi-legitimate pick.
This is true.
Listen, Prime, you and I, we know we go way back,
and
you were something.
Yeah,
no question.
But he was something. He was something before he was something.
He was something before. Not much of a tackler. When you're talking about great defensive players, secondary guys who hit hard, Deion's name doesn't come up that much. Still a defensive presence.
Sure.
But certainly I think his kicking game kick return game was as much an asset, if not more so, than his defense.
And his pick return too. Not just kick, but pick return.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Anytime he got the ball in his hands.
Right.
Yeah. So
exactly.
You could make a case that he's one of the greatest.
Well, let me ask you that then. Obviously, we know one of them. So what would be your top 3? Who would be your top 3 of all time defensive players?
My mic was off when I did that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes I have a little cough button here on the mic.
Right.
This is the Yeti Blue, by the way.
Yes.
And every now and but it does.
Gotcha.
Good.
Your top 3 defensive players of all time. You don't have to overthink it. Just top of your head.
I'd probably put Aaron Donald. And I'd probably put Derek Thomas up there.
Okay, fair enough.
Played in obscurity.
I'm assuming with LT being the 3rd.
No. LT would be number 1. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd probably put. I might put Derek Thomas number 2. Well, I'd probably put Donald.
Donald too.
Not Darnold. Aaron Darnold.
You want to put Sam Bradford Darnold?
In my league, we're gonna have a fantasy league where everyone's named Darnold. Probably put Donald number 2 or Thomas 3.
Gotcha. So LT, Aaron Donald, Derek Thomas.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
How about you?
LT number 1. I would put. I put
Reggie in there.
I put Reggie White in there. I put Reggie White at number 2. I put Reggie White at number 2. And number 3, I'd have to give you a tie because Aaron Donald. It's hard to leave him off. He's such a great presence right now. But I would also Emlyn Tunnell. I'm going way back, obviously, with the Giants. He was just a beast. He was just insane. I mean, you talk about secondary, defensive secondary. Just, I mean, Revis Island. I mean, guys that watched Emlyn Tunnell back in the day would laugh at,
Right.
Yeah,
there were
all of
some
that.
when we did. What was that? Was it best top 10 defensive backs or?
Yep.
And there were a bunch of guys from back in the day that you look at their stats and you go, "What the hell?
Yeah,
This guy
But you
had
know-
53 interceptions in the 50s. Like nobody threw the ball that much."
Yeah, they threw the ball 54 times to his way. He got 53 of them.
So yeah, that's not a bad pick.
Yeah. So, but that would be mine. So there you go.
Prime, you're my number 3.5.
There you go. You can have Prime tied with Derek Thomas, or
Yeah, slightly.
something like that.
If Thomas sprains his ankle, then
Prime's in.
Prime steps in. So
There you go. Cool. All right. Yeah, I don't think there's much out of Jets camp. Minka Fitzpatrick for the Steelers signed a new 5-year contract. Just a few hours ago, just this afternoon.
Don't care. You know what? Let me hang on. Let me pull up. I got signed up for I don't know, the Ready Set Jets or whatever the hell it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Some stupid like weekly email or whatever. So I think they sent one today. Oh, Jets mini camp roundup. I meant to look at this before.
There you go.
On the air. I don't.
While you read that, I'll read this really quick.
Yeah, let me just.
Mekhi Becton is wary of his critics. He's set to make them eat their words. Mekhi Becton, nicknamed Big Ticket. I didn't know that, as a matter of fact. Were you aware of that was his nickname? Big Ticket?
No. No.
Delivered a big message Wednesday to his critics. I'm going to make them eat their words, he said, at the conclusion of a 2-day minicamp. Becton, who has battled injuries and a weight problem since his promising rookie year in 2020, sounded determined to change the narrative. In his first media availability since last September, he showed up wearing a blue T-shirt that read "Big Bust."
Good for him.
There you go.
Yeah, this is a waste.
Gotcha.
Look, here's highlights of Zach Wilson completing a pass. Here's a conversation with C.J. Mosley.
Apparently, he was wearing a hoodie or something like that. I heard somebody saying hooded Wilson or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know.
I forget what that was about. Like he was wearing a hoodie while he was throwing the ball or something like that. I don't know. But
look,
anyway.
You know me, big Jets fan that I am. Nothing means nothing. What is it? Nothing means anything.
Nothing means anything
until you do it on the field.
Sure. I mean, they very likely could have had the best draft of any team this year, with the Giants probably having one like the second or third best. But they until they get it all right on the field means nothing. Means nothing.
Although I did hear part of an interview with Robert Saleh the other day, who I'm warming to. So he was talking about, I guess he's got some kids and they were playing in their respective baseball league championships, I guess. And one of them won and another one lost and was crying. And, you know, they're whatever, 8, 10, 12, somewhere around there, I think.
Right.
And so he was, talking about, keep your head up, be proud of your accomplishments. And then they were saying, well, Dad, you cried when you lost the Super Bowl when he was with the Niners, right?
Right.
Whatever, he was coordinator or anyway, whatever.
Defensive coordinator,
yeah. So they're like, you cried when you lost the Super Bowl. And I thought his response was quite honest when instead of saying, well, yeah, that's true. You're right. Good point. He kind of said, yeah, but that was the Super Bowl. It wasn't, like the 11 and 12-year-olds junior league, which, of course, he didn't follow it up with that, but he just said, yeah, but that was the Super Bowl. So, that was legit.
That's pretty good. I like that.
But of course, when you're a kid, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that's the biggest thing in the world.
Sure.
So he didn't go on to say, oh, your league isn't important.
Yeah.
He was just like,
no.
That was the Super Bowl
Super Bowl
that we lost. And that's why I was crying.
Yeah, for a kid, all things are equal. So
Right.
Right.
So I thought that was a very honest answer, rather than going, you're right, son. But
That's
try to
right.
pass that lesson on to his kid. Keep your head up.
There you go.
So, but you hate it when your kid throws logic at you.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean,
Because
who are they?
Sometimes you get caught. Damn it, that's a good point. I can't.
Right.
The only response
I
you
have
is
no response to that.
no. The only thing you can do is like, well, because I'm your father.
Right.
Well, why do I have to do whatever?
Because I said so. That's why.
Right. Because and that's that's kind of, sometimes that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm smarter than you because I've been alive longer, but it still sounds lame when you say that.
Mm-hmm.
So my 17-year-old is very logical. We always tell him he should be a lawyer.
There you go.
Because he's always, connecting these dots and going, well, if this is the case and that is the case, then this must be the case. Get out of my face, you rat thing. Because he's right, and you can't argue.
This is true. This is true.
But I thought it was refreshing to hear him, kind of go like, without actually saying, your shit's little and mine was really big. Right. That's what he was kind of saying. That's exactly Super Bowl.
Right.
I thought that was kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
I hope he gets. I hope he's a good coach, and I hope he gets a fair shake. I hope he doesn't get Pete Carroll and
this is true.
Run out of town before he has a chance to get things going.
That would not be good. That would not be good. All right. Let's mosey on to a little b-ball.
Only an hour 6 on. Well, listen, we got baseball and football out of the way in an hour.
We got baseball and football out of the way, and we did talk a lot about baseball. And I mean, there's not really a lot to talk about with basketball and hockey. I mean, we're talking about 4 teams now, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, bottom line, look, what did we say 2 weeks ago? You said Celtics in 6.
And Donnie rubs it in my face.
Harry
said Boston in 6. Harry said Boston in 7. You said Golden State in 6.
And if Golden State wins tomorrow night,
you were the only guy who has a chance to hit it on the head.
No, Harry can hit it on the head too.
Oh no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, if Boston wins the next 2 and wins the wins the
Harry and I both have a chance to get the winner correct. He has a shot at getting the whole Megillah, and you have a shot at the whole Megillah too. Right. I don't know, man. Beating Boston 3 in a row is tough.
Yep.
But Game 5, what were they up? 14 or whatever it was. And
it was pretty decent, yeah.
Boston came back and finally had a great third quarter and then was actually leading, but I think it was too soon.
Yep.
I think Boston came back, not that you have the luxury of, well, let's not come back until there's 6 minutes left in the fourth. We don't want to tie it up until that. But they couldn't sustain it. They came back in the third, tied it up, took the lead, couldn't hang on, couldn't play well enough.
Yeah, they needed to split the difference between when they did it in the third and 6 minutes left in the fourth, right?
Yeah, somewhere in between.
Turn it on at the beginning of the fourth and run with it, and hopefully that lasts you for the whole 12 minutes,
And then it just got away from them. And look, what can you say? The Warriors are they're too good.
They are.
They have too many options,
It would not. I'll say this right now, and I know I said Warriors in 6, and I still stand by that. I think the Warriors are winning tomorrow night. I think the finals are done tomorrow night. But I would not be shocked if Boston makes a series of it, meaning winning tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be at home
and having a good Game 7. What would that be? I guess Saturday, right? Would be
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. Whatchamacallit.
But they see. I think the Warriors. Well, I'm not going to say can't, but can't with a caveat. Win 3 in a row. In Boston.
It's going to be. It's going to be hard for them to win their third in a row in Boston.
Right. But I also think
the Garden's going to be rocking up there.
I also think can't with a caveat. Boston winning Game 7 in Golden State. I don't know how they do that. If they win Game 6.
True.
It's weird how what's the closest one of these games has been? 10.
Yeah, they haven't been close.
First game was 12. Second game was 19, then 16, then 10, and then 10. But somehow, because of the back and forth, these games have all
been or at least
closer.
seemed close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when they get out of hand, they really get out of hand.
Yeah, it seems as if just not so much a switch gets turned on by the team that is running away with it. It's just like it's almost like a switch got turned off by the team that's not.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I think I closed out the. I'm not going to say that. Let me open up the game here, and then I'll get back to what I'm not going to say. I got to go back to Monday because I just wanted to touch on the. Let me open the box. I'm not going to say that Robert Williams is the key to Boston's victory.
No.
But he was really the only guy that was plus the other night.
Right.
I mean, he had 10 points, 4 for 5 from the field, hit both of his free throws, which is amazing. 8 rebounds, a couple assists, Tatum was minus 13. Horford was minus 19.
Yeah, guys
Jaylen
that you don't
Brown
think they were
was
gonna. I
minus
mean,
19.
They were just. It's not. They did not play. They did not have a good game.
They did not have a good game. And listen, you have to develop some sort of inside presence. I'm constantly perplexed at how Boston just cannot seem to get inside at all. And then when you had Williams out there, you're getting at least a little something out of them. They have to find some way. They just can't, because when they go cold from the outside, the whole team goes cold.
Right.
Suddenly, no one can hit a three.
Right. It's just, it's done. It's crazy.
And they can't even seem to get in. No one can break down the defense and even get in for a mid-range jumper with, rare exception. It's just, I mean, the Warriors defense, stifling.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, like, at this point, Boston, you got to figure something out.
Was it more the Warriors defense though, or was it more just Boston not playing a good game offensively?
Well, look, they shot 34% from three.
Right.
11 for 32. 41% from the field. The Warriors, 9 for 40 from outside the arc. That's 22%. 46 from inside. So, it's the. I don't know. It's so strange. It's so strange to me.
We have breaking news here from Log has written in. Okay. And the breaking news. The key to Boston winning is scoring more points than the Warriors.
Well, that is true. Yeah, it's the mid-range jumpers. Yeah, Log is right about this.
Absolutely.
Jaden and Brown missed mid-range jumpers, the kind that has won championships for every other team.
The other ones, Jaden and Brown missed mid-range jumpers, the kind that has won championships. The kind that has won championships every other team.
You spelled one wrong.
Yeah.
Log.
Won championships every other team.
But
the
history
of the NBA.
Yeah. The point is correct.
Right.
So when you were finally getting those shots, you were missing them. I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. The mid-range jumpers are the Tatum and Brown, not Jaden and Brown. Right.
Oh yeah, who's Jaden?
Who's Jaden?
Jaden Tatum.
Jaden Tatum.
Did you meet Jason? Are you buddies with? We got to get together. Me, Prime, and
Jason Tatum.
Jaden.
Jaden, right?
You, exactly. Me, Don, and Jaden should get together.
Don
was Don. Yeah, Don and Jaden. Oh boy.
Anyway, but he's right. The mid-range jumpers are the issue there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're not getting a whole lot of them, and then it's just I think I've been saying this the whole playoffs,
right?
About various teams. Entire teams just seem to go ice cold, and then nobody wants to take the shot, and it's dribble and pass. And even when you get penetration, Tatum or Jaden is one of the few guys that can kind of make his own shot and stuff.
Right,
But it's,
right.
You're in there. You're down inside the around the free throw line. Put it up, man.
There you go.
But and also they're talking a lot about the drop defense.
Right.
And the idea was, well, instead of playing the drop defense, I guess the last game they were all over Steph Curry. Had somebody on him every second, right? In his pocket, in his socks, as our old soccer coach used to say. Get inside his socks. And he had a subpar game, but they still lost. You got to be able to shoot.
Right.
I hope it goes 7, but I don't. Unless Boston figures out something.
Well, like I said,
I don't see how they win. I don't see how they win too.
I still stand by. Yeah, it's hard. As hard as it's going to be. Let's say hard, as difficult as it might be for the Warriors to win the third game in a row in the Boston Garden. It would be that difficult for the Celtics to win a second in a row out in California.
At least, if not more. And the other thing is, look, Boston's tough. There's only so many times you get up off the floor.
Yep.
If they get down, you know what I mean? You get down 15, you're heading towards halftime or whatever. Eventually you just go, fuck, what do we have to do here? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
How do we how many times can you come back? It gets harder and harder.
Something has to happen where it's not an epiphany moment by any means, but like a switch gets flipped and they're like, oh, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And that's the only thing. Like I said before, I do stand by my pick. I do think the Warriors are just going to wrap it up tomorrow night. I think it's done after 6. Warriors win it.
They
but I would
will.
not be surprised if it goes to 7 and Boston doesn't, and Boston makes a game of it. It's game 7, I mean. So, and game 7 being the closest game, like Boston winning tomorrow by double digits. So every game's been double-digit wins, and then game 7 is the closest of all the games. It would not shock me this year with what Boston has been able to do at certain points in certain series.
Maybe Boston has to play their third team a little bit more.
Yeah, that's worked for a lot of teams this year too.
If you look at the last game, Juwan Morgan, Sam Hauser, Stauskas, Luke Cornett, Aaron Nesmith. Mm-hmm. Not sure which one of those guys is on the bench, but they all played 1 minute and 19 seconds.
Yeah.
Which I assume was
total or each?
Each.
Oh, okay.
Each.
Like they literally got 119 exactly each.
Was that like at the very end of the game? I don't know. I didn't watch.
They must have all went in for the last 1 minute and 19 seconds because that's just too abstract to actually, all right, hold on. All right, you're out.
Yeah, like this. How do you can't plan that? Not with 6 guys. So I don't know. Maybe get some other Bird, Pearson, McHale. If their third team is Bird, Pearson, McHale.
If their third team is Bird, Pearson, McHale.
Like these 6 guys all played the exact amount of time. How is that possible?
Right.
And there's 6 of them. So it's not like they could all go on the floor for the last 1 minute 19.
Exactly. By the way, folks, these comments from Log, it's Harry. So
yes.
he's actually gotten to be able to comment at least to the show now, so that's a good thing.
Harry Lug
Nutz. Worst NBA Finals ever. Yeah, I mean,
you're not wrong.
No, listen, there's
wrong.
great portions of each game. When you've had some of these big comebacks and stuff, but ultimately these are disappointing games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't have double-digit wins all the time. It's just not that exciting.
It doesn't make for exciting basketball, that's for sure.
So, no.
Right. Well, we'll see what transpires tomorrow night, and then Sunday, if depending on what transpires tomorrow night, we'll go from there. So good luck to both teams, and we'll be watching. We'll be watching.
Well, let me just ask you this.
Throw it. Go for
it. Golden State wins. They're a dynasty, right? 4 championships in the last 8 years, plus 2 other finals appearances that they lost.
Yeah.
6 times in 8 years going to the finals.
I think you can already say that they kind of are already, because that would mean 6 times in 8 years and won 4 of them. It would still be 6 times in 8 years and they only won 3 of them. So it's still dynasty-esque, regardless. But you could say that. You could say they're.
It's not a word that
dynasty-ish.
It's a word that gets thrown around by a lot of people, I think, too cavalierly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's legitimate. Like you can't have a dynasty. You can't really have a dynasty in 5 or 6 years. If you win 6 years in a row, okay.
Right.
If you win 3 out of 5, you're kind of on the cusp.
Mm-hmm.
But 4 out of 8 and 2 other finals, if they sucked the other 4 years, I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
they were there every year. They were in the finals 6 of the 8 years and won 4 of them. Yeah.
That's.
And you said it's thrown around cavalierly. I don't think the Cavs are a dynasty.
Not the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It's not been thrown around Cleveland cavalierly.
The Mariposa Cavaliers.
The Mariposa Cavaliers.
Professional broom ball team. Yeah. That's a dynasty.
That is a dynasty.
Yeah.
If you can be a dynasty playing broom ball, that's something.
Well, listen, a lot of sweeps in that game.
I see where you went there. All right.
I had to hire a guy to help me figure out how to set that up.
I like that. Here we go. Okay. Oh, dynasty. I guess I hate the Warriors and horrible dad joke. There you go.
Well, that means it's a great dad joke because dad jokes are supposed to be.
If it's a horrible dad joke, that means it's a great dad joke.
So
exactly.
Thank you, brother. All right. Yeah, that's it for basketball.
That works for me. All right. So let's switch the screen here just for a moment and talk about how sad it was for me to wear this jersey tonight and not be rooting for them to win game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, finally I got something to cheer about with hockey.
There you go.
I haven't had a winner. When did the Devils win last time? 2005?
5, yeah. Cheers to the New York Rangers. And I know you don't hold this, but I'm going to say this, okay? I know you don't hold this in the same regard I do, but cheers to New York Rangers. It was a great run. It was a great year. You exceeded anybody's expectations this year, getting to where you got to. You ran out of steam. Happens. But again, cheers to a great year. And let's keep this team together. Let's do it again next year. So, cheers.
You want to flame out in the conference finals again next year?
Get to the playoffs.
That's not very ambitious.
I meant get to the playoffs.
Well, I shouldn't say flame out. Listen, the Rangers, I got to give them credit. They were very entertaining to watch. Mm-hmm. They were down, right? They were down a couple series and came back.
Yeah.
Brilliant at times.
Mm-hmm.
Really confusing at others. I'm glad they're not in it because they're not my team and I hate them. But they provided some excitement, no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, the first round went 7 games against the Penguins, and they came back. They were down 3-1.
3-1. Yeah,
and they won 3 in a row. And then the second round against the Hurricanes, 4-3. Same thing, 7 games.
Yeah.
But ran out of gas. They were up what? They were up 2-1 against the Lightning.
They were up 2-0.
They were up 2-0, and Tampa came back and won 4 straight.
Yeah.
That's running out of gas, is what that is. If you're up 2-0 and you lose 4-2 in 6 games, you ran out of gas. There's no other way to say it.
And listen, I certainly understand the sentiment of the right. We've got Florida teams playing hockey that just doesn't seem right,
Mm-hmm.
But Tampa Bay is the 2-time defending champions.
Sure.
And you don't get to be king of the hill without knocking the other guy off. So, yeah, I think part of it is the Rangers had to work very hard to get there. So I agree with you. Part of it is running out of steam, and part of it is going up against a damn good team.
Yeah.
Just,
And I only have one other thing to say. And I know my glass is empty because I just took a last sip there, but one other thing to say. Go Avalanche. There you go. Cheers. And not because the Lightning beat the Rangers. And I'm going to say this. Not because the Lightning beat the Rangers. Because I don't want to see a three-peat.
See, I kind of do. I like Colorado, though.
Mm-hmm.
But really only because our partner's out there.
This is true.
And my nephew's out there.
And your
but that's not
out
enough
there.
reason to. Yeah, my nephew lives out in Colorado.
So,
but that's not enough reason for me to root for the team.
Well, I'll be rooting for the Avalanche along with Harry. So you root for who you want to root for.
Listen, they were up.
Honestly, you're from the island. And not that you're an Islanders fan, but you're from the island, and you're a Devils fan. Both of which are in the East. Thing. So how do you root for Tampa? You almost
because they have beaten the Islanders and the Rangers a number of times.
And the Devils
on their way.
Well, not on their way to the Cups.
I mean
on their way to the Cups. Gotcha. I got you.
On their way to the Cups.
They beat the Islanders last year to get to the Cup and win it, and they beat the Rangers this year to get to the Cup and win it. Right.
Right, and I think 3 years ago they beat the Rangers. I don't know. I don't remember. But they have brought me much joy because let's face it, the Devils have not been good. It was
the Islanders twice.
It was the Islanders twice, yeah. I mean, the Devils are, they're a fucking joke right now. Mm-hmm. So they're not going anywhere. There's no chance that Tampa Bay is going to break my heart by beating the Devils in the conference finals. That's just not going to happen.
Fair enough.
But they have brought me joy by beating my rival, the what is it? What is the saying? The friend of my enemy is my enemy.
The enemy of your enemy is your friend.
Is my friend, yeah.
Right. The enemy of your enemy is your friend.
That's the Lightning in a nutshell.
Right.
They are the enemy of my enemies.
Lightning in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Coming to you from.
It would be kind of cool to see a three-peat.
I'd love to James Spader TV show, Lightning in a Nutshell?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was Lightning in a Nut Sack.
That's right.
I'd like to see him win 4 and then give the old high sign to the Islanders too.
There you go.
That would be great.
You would
I would probably take another 2 years of. So I would sign up for another 2 or 3 years of Devils obscurity to see that happen.
Make no mistake.
My honestly, when it comes to hockey, my hatred for other teams is much more powerful than my fandom for the Devils.
For the team you like.
I like the Devils, but I'm not a hockey guy. Mm-hmm. And they're only my team because I think I've said this before. When I was in high school, they moved. And I was upstate and everybody was a Ranger fan. I didn't even know what Long Island was, let alone
let alone where it was.
Well, right, where it was, or where the Islanders, they're from some island, I guess.
Hawaii, right? Yeah.
Well, I knew it wasn't Hawaii. I thought maybe they were from Cuba, maybe, or I don't know. But so it was like, oh, there's a new team in the area. The Devils, New Jersey Devils, came from Tennessee, I think it was, or wherever.
Bermuda,
Minnesota, Bermuda, whatever.
No.
So I was like,
the Devils ironically came from Colorado.
Did they?
They were the Colorado Rockies.
There we go. So
not to be confused with the current baseball Colorado Rockies.
To Jersey, they were not the Rangers and they were not the Islanders. So I said, okay, that's my team. Mm-hmm. So that's, and I've had my glory years with them in the past. They've won a few cups. It was great.
Harry and I,
but
Harry and I actually got to meet Glenn Resch, Chico Resch, when they first in our town when they first moved to Jersey.
So in other words, I'm not broken up if they suck.
No,
I'm not. Damn it! I mean, I would like for them to be better, of course, but I will gladly trade their lack of success for the misery of those other two teams.
Gotcha.
Like I don't even care about Pittsburgh or anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They can be good or be bad.
Okay.
Long as they're at the bathhouse. Long as they're beating the Rangers and the Islanders, I'm happy. So you
At
mentioned
the bathhouse in Passaic.
Bathhouse.
At the bathhouse in Passaic.
When we get off the air, I'd like to hear more.
All right, we'll tell you all about that.
Do you have pictures?
He may. I think there were Polaroids back then, so.
Chink,
Right.
And you got to wave it.
You got to wave it, wiggle it a little bit. Yeah.
Here comes the image. Oh,
I don't want to see that.
so
Anyway.
yeah, that's
Here you go.
Go Tampa. Why not? I agree with my friend who, my traitorous friend who now lives in Florida.
There you go. There you go.
Go
all right.
Bolts.
On that, yes, this is true. He left his 5-hole open.
Yeah.
Right.
Not,
On that
not
note,
for long, though.
Not for long. No, it was not open very long. Not at all. All right. Prediction time. Prognostication time. Radio Pete. Let us hear it.
Well, let's see. Well, it's 3-3 now with 9 minutes left in the third.
Avs just missed a great scoring opportunity.
I do kind of like Colorado. I don't hate Colorado, to be honest.
Have it on right there. Oh, it was on there.
Might be violating copyright.
Well, you can't see it. You just see like a screen.
I got to root for the Lightning. I think it's going to go 7. Colorado's tough. They're ooh, my screen is all funky.
Yeah, your screen is getting a little funky.
It is, right?
Look at that. Oh,
ooh. Can you still
talking
hear
about
me?
max headroom? That's pretty. I can hear you perfectly. It's just your screen. It's kind of cool, actually.
I'll take that. Yeah, I think it's going to go 7. I think Tampa Bay wins. Colorado's scrappy though. They're tough, man.
Colorado is very scrappy.
You can never count them out. I won't be overly crushed if the Avalanche win, but I'm rooting for the Lightning.
There you go. All right. Well, so what's your
So I say Lightning and 7.
Lightning and 7. So let's make a note of this. Where am I? Okay. Fine. Pete. TB7. Not TB12. TB7.
TB7.
Harry, are we coming through out there? Let us know your choice. What is your prognostication? Avs and what? Let us know. We're waiting for it. I am going to say Avs and 6.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they better win tonight.
There you go. Harry, let us know. Just type a number and a name. I'm loving this screen. This is great, folks. Just listening. If you're just listening to the audio podcast, you're gonna want to go on and watch the video on Facebook and on YouTube. And even if you don't want to watch the whole thing, go to about an hour 30 and look at Pete's camera. It's really cool. I'm really digging it. It's really, really cool. I got to take a couple pictures of. There we go. I got a good one. There we go. One more.
Yikes! I don't know, man. I have a hub that I plug almost everything into.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, I used to have camera problems. I realized because I have 2 external monitors, I plugged them both into the hub. Then the camera doesn't work.
Right.
So I plugged the HDMI. One of the monitors has HDMI. The other has a DVI cable.
Mm-hmm.
So I plugged the HDMI directly into the laptop, and that seemed to solve the problem with the camera. So, but we stopped glitching for the moment.
It stopped now, yeah. Harry just said, well, the only thing worse than a bunch of Russians is a bunch of Russians from Florida.
Yeah.
There you go. By the way, just to mention on the outside, as an aside right now, it's starting again. Maybe it's while I'm talking. If that's anything to do with it. While Harry is figuring out what his pick is for the entire series here, whether it's there we go.
Tampa Bay rooting for the Avs, but the Bolts will win another Communist Cup.
There you go. In how many games? How many games, Harry? Are they winning in 5 and in 4 and 5 and 6 or in 7? What are they winning in?
Will it be a sweep?
Will it be a sweep, a gentleman's sweep, or 6 or 7 games? Which will it be? Let us know. 7. It's going 7. Harry. TB7. So both you and Pete, both you and Harry. By the way, there you go. There's your proof right there. He said 7. Both you and Harry have Tampa Bay in 7. I have Avs in 6. All right.
You agree with me, Harry. That's not good. That's not good for you.
There you go.
That's my stellar prognostication record will attest.
We will see what happens.
Yeah. I don't think I've been right about a single series in anything.
Exactly. And on that note, I would like to point out one thing. Take yourself back a few years, actually a little bit more than a few years, but what kind of started Tampa on their climb to, he said no. There you go. It started Tampa on their climb to greatness, if you will, right? They did a lot of trading and got a lot of players from one particular organization, and that would be the New York Rangers. So much so, for a while, they were being dubbed Rangers South.
Just like the population. A lot of New Yorkers down in Florida.
Exactly. He said Putin's interference. He said. There you go. In any event, on that note, so Rangers South beat Rangers North the other day. That's basically what it boils down to. So anyway, all right. I think they're a little beyond Rangers South at this point, but it was what started them on this climb to greatness, if you will. So
yeah.
In any event, all right. On that note, I think we're good. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up? Oh, hold on one second. There was one thing I remember you telling me. Should I put the graphic up? Hockey one.
Oh, yeah. We might as well mention that now.
All right. I'll throw it up. You talk. Go.
So here it is. Lightning and the Avalanche. First Stanley Cup final in the history of the league to feature two teams that don't end in the letter S. So if the Rangers had won, that would be ruined.
Sure.
Only the second time in the history, this is the one I find amazing. Second time in the history of the 4 major U.S. sports that this has been the case. Mm-hmm. And then it says a stat that exists but does not matter. I just came across this the other day, and I thought, this can't be right. There must be. But yeah, only 2 times in the history of hockey, baseball, basketball, and football that a championship has not had at least one team whose name ends in S.
There you go. And that other time was when the Heat played the Red Sox.
Yeah, that was a brutal series.
In the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Well, in the Broom Bowl.
In the Broom Bowl, yeah.
But that's not a major sport anymore. So
not anymore.
Like it was back in the 1720s.
Exactly.
I wonder what the other time was.
I wonder, yeah. What is the 2 teams not,
because it wasn't hockey, obviously.
No.
Trying to think how many football teams.
There's no football teams.
Name doesn't end in S. There's none, right?
There's no football teams. There you go. Here we go. Yeah, there are 4 NBA teams: the Heat, the Thunder, the Magic, and the Jazz. There are 3 hockey teams: the Avalanche, the Wild, and the Lightning. And the Kraken now too. Obviously, this is a little old, so the Kraken are on there too. So it's 4.
Yeah, but it's not hockey because they would have said this is.
They would have said
second
right.
time.
Right, and 2 baseball teams. Obviously, the Red Sox and the White Sox. You know,
so
and that's
the Red Sox and the White Sox ever play in the World Series?
They may have them. Let's see. Not for knowing. Not sure. And then, as of for the last couple of years, there actually was a football team. There's not anymore. That didn't end in an S. That would be the Washington football team.
Oh, okay. But they certainly haven't been in the championship game.
Not so much, no.
So it's
obviously,
most
it was not
likely
football.
such a basketball combination, most likely.
Yeah,
It seemed to have to be.
Yeah,
Unless the Red Sox played the White Sox. So it's the Heat, the Thunder,
the Magic, and the
Jazz, and who else? The Magic.
Yeah.
I don't think the Magic ever played the Jazz in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Did the Heat beat OKC one year?
That's what I was thinking. But the Heat. I thought the Heat beat Dallas.
Did the LeBron era Heat?
Let's see. Let's check it out. Here we go. Right there. Oh, pulling it down. Okay, I just got to go.
Oh, well, unless it was like way back in the day.
Where are we? Thunder beat the Heat beat the Thunder. That's what it was.
Beat the Thunder. There.
2012, the Heat beat the Thunder. Yeah. The Heat won the Heat. Yeah, Heat beat the Thunder. There you go.
All right. Good guess.
Yeah, because the Heat were in 4 in a row and won the 2. They lost. That's what they lost to the Mavs. They beat the Thunder. They beat the Spurs and then lost to the Spurs.
Yep.
And then LeBron decided to get out and go to the Cavs, and then the Cavs went 4 years in a row.
Yeah, that's hard. I guess it's not that hard to believe since every team almost ends in an S.
This is true.
So if anybody out there is going to like start a sports team or buy a team and change the name, leave off the S for savings.
Leave off the S for safety. We got another comment here. And and he's going back to baseball now. Clay Holmes rules.
He does.
And they have 2 S's, USSR. Wow.
Yeah.
He's really not up on hockey tonight, is he? He's kind of down on that. All right.
Well, the former Soviet Union is going to win the NBA championship one of these years. I mean, the NHL championship.
NBA championship.
They might win the NBA championship, too.
What the hell? Why not?
I think we should let them play.
What the hell? Give it a shot. Let's see.
At least that'd be another team that doesn't end in S.
This is true. All right. What anything
that
else?
Covers it.
I think
that covers it.
I think we're good. All right, folks. Well, we did have a little Harry in there for a little while, so you got a little taste of him. We'll put the brand back on baseball because that's the way we wind it up. And on that note, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. For those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Locker Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at 7:30. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep watching baseball. Watch Game 6 of the NBA Finals tomorrow. Continue to watch Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. And we'll talk to you soon, folks. We'll see you next week. Take care. Cheers.
Avalanche on the power play. Less than a minute to go.
There you go.
I think we're going to OT. I hope this isn't one of those series where we have like 5 overtime games.
Oh, that would suck.
I can't stay up that late.
I know. Exactly. All right, folks.
All right.
Cheers.